Hi. Yesterday I made a video about religion, and I said, well, it's not for kids. Well, why not? When I was 4, my grandmother told me about her religion, and she's some weird sect. And she read me a prayer and stuff like that. And next day, I was out in the backyard on the swings, and I said, I was an honest kid. I said, God, if you're there, tap me on the shoulder. Nothing. I did it again. I said, do something. Nothing. I got radio silence. And so, I was 4 years old. And look, I was an honest kid, and I demand that of everybody around me, and I thought, well, if God's there, then why not? But, I used to talk about existence and philosophical issues like kids do, like all kids do. Well, a lot of kids do anyway. So, yes, this is about religion and if there is a God, and why not make it for kids? It is for kids. It's for everybody. I used to like talking to older people when I was a kid. I didn't want to talk to other kids. They didn't know anything. It was more fun to talk to the teenagers. So, see if you like it. Well, today I'm going to do a very difficult video at the request of a commenter. Now, I had thought that if you hold an idea, any idea, religion being one possible set of ideas you could hold, that it would be your responsibility to prove up. But this commenter told me, no, it's my responsibility as an atheist to disprove God. And so I'm going to attempt the very difficult. I'm going to try to prove a negative, and I'm going to try to do it in a way that would satisfy the believers. Now, you ever see the movie Quest of Fire? Oh, it's a great movie. It's about cavemen, all this kind of stuff. Well, what if I had a religion? Now, this is arguendo, but I'm going to come back to it later. What if I had a religion that was true? And actually the producers of the movie, through me, had acquired this knowledge through the Akashic record. And so it's absolutely true. And it's the story of human existence. Well, that would be silly, wouldn't it? But I might come back to it later. Now, let's talk about the characteristics of gods, the spirits. Now we're going to talk about things that we all know and agree, things we know about spirits. Now, I realize that some say there's only one God. It makes no difference to me. But, of course, the first commandment in the Bible, of course there's only one Bible, but it's, you should have no other gods before me. Well, what other gods is he talking about? Well, we know that there are thousands of gods. And they exist, all right, as ideas in people's heads. But my argument here is that that's the only place they exist, because they are fiction, pure fantasy. But first we're going to talk about what we know about spirits. And this has ghosts, gods, spirits of all kinds. Well, we know that they're supposed to be everywhere, and therefore gods do not interact with energy. They don't interact with light of any sort. Not X-ray, not infrared, not ultraviolet, not visible, nothing. You can't detect them that way, or else it'd be dark because they're everywhere. They would absorb the light. But they don't. So they don't interact with energy. And we know that too because Casper the Friendly Ghost, who we all know that's the image of ghosts, well, they're transparent. Ghosts are clear, you can see right through them. Now, okay, they can't interact with energy. But how about matter? Well, we know that if you, let's say it's a dark night, and you're scared of ghosts, and you go in the room, you're alone. You go in the room, and you lock the door. But that's not good enough. You put clothes all around the bottom where the gap is and you tape up all the seams in the door. It doesn't do any good. You know that ghost can come right in. He's probably sitting next to you on the bed. They don't interact with matter. I'll show you something that I can do that no God can do. Watch. Ready? God can't do that. No God can do that because they can't interact with matter or energy. So, how you think they're controlling events on Earth, I can't figure out. But you think that. As far as how many gods there are, well, we know that there are at least hundreds, and I'm sure there have been many thousands. But the question is, which one has the highest claim to reality? And that is a question that I answered on the beach once, or that I asked on the beach once actually, to a group of religious people who were passing by after another group of religious people passed by. And I posed the question, what gives you a higher claim than that last group of a different religion? And for that, someone in the crowd came and gave me a $3 tip in my bucket. I was playing music out on the beach. And so, I told the crowd at that time, I've lost my amateur standing. I am now a professional philosopher, having been paid for it. And let me tell you, one of the philosopher's main duties on this earth is to defend truth. I think truth matters. That's just me. Now, to some people, it doesn't matter. They say, you have your reality and I have my reality. That is not my philosophical view. My view is that reality exists regardless of whether any of us can perceive it, but it is unique. And now let me just talk about some of the people claiming these gods. Moses went up on the mountain and he came down with these slates which were engraved supposedly by God with the Ten Commandments. Well, couldn't God have come up with a better material than some piece of clay that anybody could have picked up off the ground? Say aluminum. He could have come up with titanium. Anything that Moses couldn't have picked up. And Moses was a big, strong guy, well connected in his community, and was a weapons specialist. So it seems like his rightness might have just come from physical power. I guess he was the wrong guy in the outfit to cross. But those claims seem incredibly lame to me. And I know there were skeptics back then. I'm often asked, why not just let them have their fantasy? Why not let the religious people believe what they want to believe and teach what they want to teach? And well, I have examined the problem of religion for a long time. I've been witness to it. And my claim is it does more harm than good. But I have a further claim. And that is that truth has value. And so, as a philosopher, I'm a defender of truth. And the damage to society is so severe from obscurant thought. And obscurant thought is that which obscures truth. It's called obscurantism. And it is the teaching of any type of fakery. It's the teaching of mythos. Now, a long time ago, there was a famous atheist named Epicurus. And he had a 4-line proof that there was no God, and it's quite famous. And he was an atomist. And before him, there was Thales. Thales, about 700 BC, was the founder of the first university on record. Thales' claim was that events on Earth happen because of forces of nature and not the whims of gods. And then one of his students, who was King Solon's son, Democritus, he coined the word atom. He named the atom, and these atomists, so-called, believed that events were caused by the motion of atoms and not the whims of gods. And that is the very definition of modernity. So, if you're a believer, put down that cell phone, because it was brought to you by the atomists. The believers had nothing to do with it. It doesn't tell you how to do electronics in the Bible. They didn't know anything. Bibles and holy books were written by the stupidest, like, for example, the Mormons. What do they call them? Morons sometimes. The Mormon religion was brought to you by a retard and somebody who wrote down his words. Familiar. So, now, and this retard also had quite the criminal record for fraud. But that's Mormons. I have a more basic question about gods. Why do they need our help? Why do they want our worship? What is this about? Is this just really about getting money into the collection plate? I'm all for faith, but I'm not for misplaced faith. Don't misplace your faith. Now, here's a question for all believers. I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong. You could be wrong. Right? That's right. Anyone can make a mistake. Anybody can be wrong about anything. I could be wrong about this, and so could you. Did you ever think that is a possibility that your religion is false? Did that ever cross your mind? Did you ever ask the question? If not, that's a flaw. And no wonder you can't dispel your delusion. You're not trying. Yes, I once had a girlfriend who had that problem. She said, "Oh, there was a spirit above my bed last night." I said, "Did you turn on the light?" She said, "No." I said, "That would have made it go away." She said, "I didn't want it to go away." Right. She's delusional, and she wants to stay delusional. Are you delusional, and do you want to stay delusional? There have been many studies done, flipping coins with prayer and all that kind of stuff. Universities have done them. No one has ever found value in prayer. I had a commenter tell me how "God Save the Queen" was a great song. I pointed out to them that God didn't save the Queen, she died. When I ask for proof of God, I ask that you do it in a way that I've taken it on, and that is try to convince the non-believers. Convincing the believers does not do a particle of good. I'm trying to convince believers. The non-believers don't have to watch my video. I have another proof. And that, well, I have a few more proofs. The first one is that many people have tried to prove the existence of God. None have, and a lot have tried. Now, that is a negative proof, but I have more positive proofs. And that is entropy. Now, anyone who knows about me knows I do a lot of thinking about entropy. I have broken the second law of thermodynamics in one of my experiments, and I'm very aware of entropy. Well, let me give you an example of entropy. If you light a match in a room and you blow it out, well, the heat from the match just dissipates all over the room and goes in the walls and the air. You would not expect that suddenly the heat's going to get back in the match and it's going to light up again. That is not the direction entropy goes. Well, we have the same problem with gods. They have no energy source. They're spread out, they're everywhere, so they're so diffuse, they wouldn't be able to do anything. The energy just spreads out through the universe. Now, there's another problem. Gods have no energy source. Energy doesn't come from nowhere. I'm a firm believer in conservation of energy so far. It doesn't look like a god could have any effect, as I say, on matter or energy or anything. You mentioned a silly religion I just made up. What if I believed it? What if I thought Quest to Fire was actually the story of creation? Which, of course, it might be. I have as much proof of that as you have for your religion, whatever religion that is. All of your proof adds up to about the same amount as I have for that movie being the actual historical record. After all, my movie exists just like your book exists. So now, do you believe my religion? Of course not. Well, I'm not sure I believe yours. Now, there are plenty of religions, and perhaps you believe one. You don't believe the others. There are so many of them that you don't believe, and we agree about that. We agree that those religions are bunk. We only disagree on one. Now, this has been pointed out before, this argument, that we really only disagree about one religion, yours. Can I make the presumption that you're looking at me on a phone or a computer or some sort of electronic device? An electronic device that would not exist but for the atomists. No religion has a clue about how to do such things. Religions are typically easily understood even by the simplest of mind. Now, everyone knows ghosts don't cast shadows, spirits don't cast shadows. That's how you know if you're standing next to one. They also don't show in the mirror, do they? That's another way you can check. You look in the mirror, uh-oh, it doesn't show, it's a ghost. Now, you believers, I wish you guys would bring me a sample. That's what Ghostbusters did. They put it in a bottle. So, I say to you believers, turn on the light.